guys, Justin Nelson here with the Icon Podcast. If you're watching live via video, you're probably wondering where I'm at. I'm not in my nice fancy home office, out on vacation this week, but the Icon Podcast never sleeps. And today I can't wait. Another great member of our community in the Icon world, Mark. Man, I am excited to have you on. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Absolutely.
By the way, nice background. That's ridiculous.
I appreciate it. It's probably
it looks like a Zoom virtual.
It does look like a Zoom virtual until I walk away and you see a boat and you're like, oh, that actually might not be. You see moving people. So I love it, man. I love it. Well, I mean, man, I'm excited to have you on. We've been coordinating this for a few weeks now. And so I would love, to be honest with you and fully transparent, I had gotten your name from a buddy of mine as an Icon agent off the list. And I don't know much about you either. So this podcast can be super fun. I've heard some great things, But I honestly don't know a lot of the inside details of your podcast. So more for me and the audience, I'd love for you just to kind of dive in and tell us, how long you've been in real estate, what's that journey been like over the next few minutes, and we'll talk a little bit what led you to EXP and so on. So turn it over to you, man, and kind of give yourself an intro.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So my name's Mark Raumaker, originally from Kansas City, Missouri. So my previous life, because it's very rare people get into real estate at like 18. They're like, cool, this is what I want to do. Yep. So actually I was a professional actor in New York City for many years. I did Broadway shows, Broadway tours, which was really exciting. I lived in New York for about 15 years. Okay. And then my wife and I started thinking long-term family, suburbs kind of stuff. So Disney came calling. Okay. So made the move to Orlando at the end of 2012. And it was great. Disney was awesome. We were full-time actors. We were in Finding Nemo, the musical, and the Beauty and the Beast. And it was great. It was a cool performing job, 5 days a week. It didn't work that much. I probably worked 20 hours. We're part of a union as an actor, so they took really good care of us. But about 3 years in, it just didn't seem that long-term. Every year you kind of got looked at and we're like, well, can you still go? How's you doing? You're negotiating your contract, all that stuff. And there wasn't a ton of growth. I was happy. We were super content, but I don't know, coming from a world of like hustling and always trying to get the next job, it just felt like by the time I finally got this stable acting job, it was kind of bored to say, you know what I mean? So that said, I've always thought about real estate, just like everybody else. It's always in the back of your head. The good realtors are always like, I'm going to do it one day. And so I had an opportunity that we had a good family member that already had a Keller Williams team.
Oh, awesome.
So we just said, hey, you know what? Let's just get our license, see if A, we like it, and B, if we're good at it. Because we know that it's not, we bought a house before and it seemed like a mess. I have no idea how it happened. I mean, now I do, but back then I just like signed papers. I was like, that seemed okay. Yep. So anyway, we got our license to kind of see what that was. And then interesting enough, everybody we worked with, we were still doing shows. I would go in and it became this massive lead generation platform where it was this sphere of influence was all around us. I feel like every time I walked into my show, somebody would say, hey, I'm buying a house today. I'm selling a house today. I bought a house today. I'm looking for a house. And it just was like, so that's why we got a license. So then when we did that, we just turned all the conversations into, I can help you. Like, I'm pretty good. Like, I think I can figure it out. And I did. So the first year, and I'll be honest, like Keller Williams, it was great. They make you set goals, and my first year I had no frame of reference. So they were like, you need to sell about 40 to 45 homes to make, the cut I was on, it was like to make a 6-figure. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. And my first year, and I was still full-time at another job, I sold 23 homes. That's awesome. And but I thought it was a massive failure. That was terrible. You know what I mean? I barely made half. So then, and I looked at my numbers and started listening to other podcasts and learning the business a lot too. And I realized it was actually, everybody celebrated. It was celebrated, but to me, it was a failure. You know what I mean? So that said, I kind of built on that. And I was really excited once I figured out that, that was pretty good. And my wife was doing it too. We had our second baby around that time. Okay. So our second year, still full-time at Disney, working we worked about 20 hours a week. She sold 23 houses and I sold 32 houses. Oh, wow. So yeah. And it just was happening. We have the hustle mentality. I answer my phone all the time. She does too. And that year she was doing all the buyers and I was doing all the sellers. So it was actually kind of a fun little situation we had going. That was the second year at Keller. And then we just started kind of feeling a little in a box. So coming from the acting world and the creative world, that's what I do. I love that Keller sets you up to like, this is how it's done. It's this is the wheel. You can't reinvent the wheel. I kept fighting that the whole time, and I felt guilty. And then finally I was like, I'm doing this a different way. I feel like, not that I'm doing this new way, I'm just doing it different. I love the Red Book, but I tried it and I wasn't doing it that way. And I kept finding success. So I was like, I think there's another way to do it. So I just started looking outside of Keller Williams a little bit, as we all did. We started Googling, researching. YouTube's so awesome. You just get all this information. And I was really drawn to Compass and EXP.
Okay.
And I kind of started reaching out to both just to kind of gather information. And Compass, they called me and they said, we're not in Orlando, sorry. And they hung up. I was like, oh,
easy.
Okay. Which is fine. I mean, that's fine. I get it. Like, I don't really want to be the flagship anyway. I just wanted to see what you guys are doing. And then my end-up sponsor, Kyle Handy, contacted me with EXP, and we did a demo and everything. And to me, it was like all of us, it was pretty mind blowing. You know what I mean? It seemed super obvious. Yeah. I was like, because
I just was good to be true.
Yeah. I just didn't really believe it. And I mean, instantly I was like, this is what we're doing. And I was that angsty feeling of like, oh, should we switch? Like, it seems like a big deal. I'll never forget when they were like, okay, I signed up, and then and I'm in Florida. So the admin called me. She's like, okay, well, we're ready to switch you over. You ready? And I said, yeah. And like 5-second pause. She goes, welcome to EXP. And I was like, that's it? I'm EXP. And I went on the MLS and everything was switched. It was wild because I never switched. I thought it would be like this massive thing. And it was pretty simple. So that said, now it was just us, and we started our own team, the Home Squad.
Okay.
And we've grown. We added 4 agents here in Orlando, and we actually have an agent in Louisville, Kentucky. And then we're just bringing on another agent in Long Island, New York. So we're gonna have New York.
I love that. I love that. So obviously we'll talk about more of this later, but like if you guys are attracted to markets and energy and you guys ever want to partner, like what's cool about EXP is there's no boundaries. And I think you guys are seeing that is there's no boundaries, and it makes it a lot easier to partner with you. So you guys got any plans for any other cities coming up, or just kind of going when the right people show up?
Yeah, we're kind of, we're not actively looking. We're not going to like go to cities and say, who wants to join? But our model's a little different, and our split's a little different, and our branding's a little different. We keep it really loose. I joke that when I came from the acting world to the real estate world, I felt like I was pretending I was a realtor. Every time I go in the office, I'd like wear my slacks and my polo. And then after, almost 4 years of doing it now, I know I'm like, oh, I can wear a t-shirt and jeans, and this is what it is. And we have, I don't know if you've looked at, but all of our branding, we have these cartoon characters, and
yep, I did.
Kind of like the superhero agents. And so we just keep it really loose. When we built our team, we wanted the agent within our team to feel like it was their own business and their own brand, Mm-hmm. So that said, if it's a fit, we make it work. We want it to work, but we're not actively looking. But yeah, if you're a loose real estate agent and like to have fun, that's what we do.
I love that. So tell me this, for those that are listening now, like for you, what was the biggest reason why you made the switch to EXP at the beginning? Even if it's not the best reason about being here now, like originally, like what in that meeting with Kyle, was it like, wait, what? Like that is enough to make me want to take a real hard look at this.
Sure. Yeah. To be transparent, it was the sense of freedom.
Okay.
Not even just started. We weren't going to start our own team. We were just going to do it by ourselves because that's what we wanted to do. And then it was the sense of like, again, from the previous one, it was great. And there was a lot of accountability, which helped. But at the same time, I just felt like I was kind of always being watched. And a lot of entrepreneurs just don't love that. It made me feel a little weird. So the sense of, the virtual office, I always say when I talk to other people about EXP is, I love it because they're there when you need them, and they stay out of your way when you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you just put your head down and you go to work and that's it. And then you look up and you're like, oh, it's been a month and whatever, you know what I mean? So that's what attracted me. I just wanted this sense of freedom that I know, like even the branding, they're like, yeah, who cares? New colors, your logo, whatever. Just, put it by marketing, but have at it. Have a great time. And it just felt so like freeing. This is cool.
Oh, I love that, man. I love that. You said it perfectly. Yeah. The virtual world, they're kind of at your call rather than the other way around.
Well, yeah, I use Workplace even more than the world. Like we send gifts back and forth, me and the broker. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, we call each other on that. It's just free. Everything's free.
Well, no, I love that, man. Cause like even thinking back to my KW days, like we were in an office, a big office, and whenever they would bring someone new in, the team leader would walk them around the entire office and try to introduce them to everybody, which is great. Like that's great culturally. But the problem was that if I was in lead gen, they'd knock on my door and then try to talk to an hour, and I lost an hour of my day, which I want to be there culturally, but I can't do that 7 days a week. But in a virtual world, you can be present as you need to be or want to be, but not like interrupted. And if you're really focusing on something that's critical.
Yeah. And you just send somebody your calendar and say, this is when it is. And even when I get a haircut, that's an appointment. You know what I mean? So yeah. No, it's really cool.
I love that, man. So obviously when you talked about your biggest reason was sense of freedom, there's obviously a lot of pieces of EXP that produce senses of freedom. I know a lot of people are like me. You got to EXP and you're like, wait, Kyle, you didn't tell me about these 7 different things that were here, because you're only, when you come over, you're thinking about 2 or 3 things. Like, so once you got here, like, what were some of the surprises that you had that you're like, I didn't even know that existed, but it's maybe made me a lot of money, or I didn't know that existed, and that was a great piece of leverage. So what have been kind of those pleasant surprises for you so far?
Yeah, I think 2 things come to mind. First, we talked about revenue share and we talked about stock, and everybody talks about that. That's a big, but to be honest, I'm not a stock guy. I don't play the market. I don't do that. You know what I mean? It's like a gamble to me. So I'm not a gambler. And then the revenue share, I knew it from profit share, but it wasn't important to me. I just thought like, oh, I got my team and then we'll do it. And I don't know the model well enough, blah, blah, blah. And those 2 things have definitely, especially getting Icon now, it's changed my whole business, my mindset too, which is super cool. I brought on, our agents from our team, but now we have like another big KW agent called me 6 months ago and said, hey, I want to know about you. I wasn't even actively attracting her or recruiting her. And she called me. They sell like 150 a year. Like, you should have her on this podcast because she's awesome. She'll get Icon soon. She's awesome. Will. Yeah. But that opened up my revenue share massively. And now we're in the same market. We went from competitors to we're aligned now. She can sell her houses to her people. I can sell my house to my people. And then when we're talking about EXP, we can literally team up. It's insane. It's so cool. I love that.
And he's almost like a team member, but she doesn't pay you like a split. She's not paying you every deal, but EXP's paying you for just literally knowing her now.
And it's all calculated. Like, we've been friends for a long time. We knew each other before real estate. And she's like, if somebody's going to make money off me, it should be you. I said, great. I said, then let's do this and let's build your downline too. You know what I mean? So now her agents are bringing people, and it's just, no, that feeling is like, oh, it went from, I feel real estate's so weird because we all like get together and we're like, especially in the same market, and you're like, let's do this. Let's do team rallies. I'm like, but I hope you don't get that listing. I hope I get it. You know what I mean?
Well, so it's this. The traditional way is the only way that you could ever make money is if they worked at your own brokerage and gave you a split, or if they were on your team and you took a split. Like, that was the only way you could partner.
And there was no way, like, we both have our own teams. There's no way we'd ever work together. You know what I mean? So
if you did, it'd be a 50-50 team split. And those usually either go up in the clouds or they kaboom really easily.
Right. Exactly. So it's just a cool, she does her business, and then we'll check in once every 2 weeks and just, and same with my sponsor, Kyle. Like, he's in San Antonio, Texas. We don't even talk about home selling. Like, that's what we do. But then we talk about all the other stuff. So I don't know, that's definitely a big thing. And then also our team model, we were an expansion team. We were on an expansion team in Orlando. And then we had the team down here, and then our agent, it's actually my wife's cousin. She's killing it. She's so good at selling real estate. She wanted to join, and I was like, well, I think we can just do home squad there. Nothing's different. Nothing's different. She knows how to sell real estate. And so that was super cool. So now she's on our team in Kentucky. I feel like it's weird. We don't, there's a sign in the yard. Our sign is in Kentucky. And now our New York agent, he's going to be brand new, and he's getting signed a mentor. And I can't teach him New York contracts. I don't know. I can teach Orlando or Florida ones, but so anyway, so that's cool. He can be on our team, get a mentor with the EXP that she's crushing, and they've already been connected, and that's amazing too. Like the amount of opportunity, and again, then you got the revenue share and the stock too. The stock is great.
I love that, man. So I want to dive a little bit into the stock, but not totally. So I want to talk about first, Icon. When were you first introduced to what Icon meant? Had you even heard about it before you moved over to EXP? And then for those listening that you may have shared this video with that are big producers thinking about coming to EXP or just learning about Icon, can you kind of tell me what your journey was when you first heard about Icon, what you thought of it, and then what Icon actually is, and kind of give me some numbers in the Florida market of what it took you production wise to get that status roughly, and what it's financially done for you now and your family.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like brought up in the demonstration that I took part of with Kyle and Pat Hayes. They talked about it a lot. And to be honest, I was coming from a team to start kind of a single agent mode. So I was like, that's a lot of houses. I don't know. Like, I think we'd hit that. I don't know. But so we were so focused our first year at EXP, like just like getting our business up, getting the branding, the logoing, the ordering the signs, getting the, you know, I wasn't really paying attention. We just were selling houses and doing that. And then I told you offline, but like 3 weeks before our cap hit, I found out where to check. Like, are we going to hit Icon? And I just kind of heard about it. And I was like, I'd feel cool if I said I was an Icon agent. I don't know what that, you know what I mean? I just think like it's a cool title. So I looked and we were like $178 off from hitting that 5,000 because you have to hit $5,000 after your cap. I was like, oh, and I looked at our closings. I was like, we're going to hit it. And it didn't work out with the closing and it got pushed past our cap date. So I missed it. And I actually emailed EXP. I was like, can I pay the difference? Like there's a point where I was like, and they're like, no, that's just not how it works. I was like, no, I get it. I had to ask. So I didn't get it my first year. And the second year that actually kind of made me mad. So I just was like, oh, I'm getting it. Like we're getting it. So we just hunkered down and obviously our business has grown a lot. So it would kind of happen in the background and I would check in and be like, oh, we're 3 closings away or 4 closings away. So to us, like in the Orlando market, I believe once you hit about 40 transactions, you Icon, give or take. The average price points, ours right now is about 273. And we're at about 52 sales so far this year on the team. Cool. So yeah, I hit about 40.
Perfect. And for those listening, depending on when you're listening to this, if you listen to this 5 years down the road, could be a little different. So we'll have the current most updated Icon status rules in the description here. Okay. But as it sits right now, like what do they reward you with once you get the Icon? So for those listening, obviously you first have to pass a culture test. I know that. So you obviously have to pass the culture. Like it's not just given to you automatically. Then so once you get the award, they're going to make sure you're deserving of the award. But once you get approved for that, like what is the actual physical monetary reward that they give you for being an Icon?
Yeah, there's $12,000 in stock back to you. Yep. And then you have opportunities to get, was it 2 and 2, right?
Yeah,
so
2 and 2.
4, 2 and 2. So $2,000 in stock. If there's, I think 6 or 7 things you can do. You can mentor, you can screen more Icon agents. You can teach in the class or on the world. You can be part of Icon conversations in the world. It's cool. Cause then I literally was like, which one should I do? And I'm already mentoring, to be honest, but I like this kind of stuff. So I signed up for the Icon conversations because I think that's the more, and I get to meet other agents and that I'm always trying to learn too at the same time. I'm only like, I haven't even hit 4 years in real estate yet. So I'm like, I have so much to learn. So that kind of stuff got me super eager about. So I'll get 2,000 for that. So that's 14,000. And then if you attend one of the big events, whether that's EXPCon or shareholders. And to be honest, before this all happened, shareholders happens in my town. So I just drive down the road, super interested too. I don't know if it's going to continue that, but I've been to the last 2 I was, but so, love it. Yeah. So then I'll get 16. Yeah. Which is,
I love it, man. I love it. So tell me this, you got 16,000 in October or when did you Icon?
June.
Okay. So you got Icon. And so they gave you 16,000 worth of stock. So for those that are listening, it's not like they just gave you $16,000 that here you go cash it in. They gave you 16,000, and at the time I think you said your stock was what, $16?
Yep.
So they divided 16,000 divided by $16 and said he has XYZ number of shares. Well, now as of today, I think the stock is at what, $41, $39, somewhere right around here.
Yep.
So now your stock has almost tripled. Almost.
Yeah, it's actually fun if you go to the stock website, which I go now every day because I'm obsessed with it. That 12,000, you can look at all your stock awards, and that 12,000 is now worth 19,000. Like that's the difference from when they bought it for me to now what it's worth. I was like, well, that was easy.
That's crazy. Yeah. And for those listening that maybe are still a little bit unfamiliar with the EXP model, first reach out to Mark, learn more about it. But the capping model at EXP is 16,000 for a cap. And so so you basically just were there for free now. You didn't pay a dime.
They paid, and be honest, and I've gotten awards, not awards, but every time you cap, you get stock awards. Every time you close your first deal, when you sponsor an agent. So they're paying me now to be here, like legitimately.
That's
so
awesome. Now,
yeah.
for some people, they're skeptical about that, Mark. They might be listening going, man, they're actually paying him. And I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but it's because you get to deal with a lot of the other top 2% agents. The top 2% are getting paid to be there now because they're influencing all the rest of the company. And, no matter what happens, you'll always have a real estate company where people's goals are only sometimes to sell 2 or 3 homes a year. And so those are the people that pay the company's bills, right? Because they're not trying to icon, or they have no desire to do that. And so it allows that opportunity. And so now for you, like, what's the number one thing that you would tell someone if they're listening and they maybe have an ego in the way? Because I'll tell you, I had an ego in the way when I even thought about moving. I was like,
a lot of people do.
I'm known as the KW guy. Or, whatever it may, or for you, it might have been, hey, I'm known as being on this expansion team that probably has a big name. And so like, what would you tell someone that's kind of trying to get over some ego stuff? Like, what would you say to push them over the edge to at least even just take a 5-minute call with you to take a look at EXP? Like,
that's super simple. Cause I would just run your numbers. So on that, wherever you are now, your current brokerage, run through the numbers of if you sold like from 2020, from now until January 1st, like what you would have made with your current brokerage and what you would have made with EXP. That's super simple. Or from 2019, whatever that is. And then if you would, and then go, if they're a high producer, going to see when they would have hit that $5,000 thing and when they would have got the stock awards, and also how many people have you brought into KW or Coldwell Banker or Remax, and then figure those numbers out. I mean, it might take a minute, but the ones who are doing it now, we can help, because I mean, it's unbelievable. I was talking to somebody this morning about joining EXP, and I went through the numbers with them, and it was even my own numbers. I was like, that's crazy. Like, this is crazy. It's so obvious to me, know?
No.
I always tell people too, when I'm talking about EXP, I'm like, I don't work for EXP. I'm an agent. Nobody works for EXP that's talking about EXP. We're all just agents. Yeah. And that's how excited we get about it. It's not false. Like it's real and it's happening. So jump on.
I love that. So before, like when Kyle was trying to recruit you, and I know he probably wasn't totally, like, it was more of natural from what I hear, is like, what was that look like? Like, did you just have a meeting with him knowing nothing about EXP? Did you watch a YouTube video before learning a little bit about it?
I watched so many hours of what, you know what I mean? Because again, when you hear it, you're like, I don't understand what it is. And then trying to break down the revenue share in your head, like, it's super complicated. I'm like, it's bring people on, you make money. You know what I mean? Like, so I watched a lot of videos, and then he understands it a lot. And then he brought on Pat Hayes, who most of the EXP people know who Pat is. He's a great dude. And just their energy alone, but they really broke it down for more in like what it was and what it is. But yeah, it was the demo that we did, and we did 2. It took 2 of them because we did it. And then I was like, nah, I don't know. And he was like, the next day he's like, let's jump back on. I was like, okay. I knew I wanted to do it, but I was like, what else you got? And then they, but it felt good. It felt like, let's join the team. Let's do this together. It was cool.
I love that. So tell me a little bit, because I know your wife's in the business, from what I understand as well with you. Talk to me a little bit. What is something you guys do as a family, something you do to recharge yourself? Because obviously, it doesn't matter what brokerage you're at listening to this, high producers like yourself can burn out probably even more or less what you talked about in the acting industry. Like, the acting industry is where you came from. So that's even more of a burnout industry. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I could see that one being one where you got
Yeah, definitely. The similarities are kind of uncanny of the roller coaster life. I mean, when you're in the acting world, you do this amazing job and show and get paid a ton of money, and then the next month you're unemployed. You know what I mean? Because the show closes. So that coming into this world, I'm like, oh, well, I have 4 closings next month, and looks like October we have 0. So you know what I mean? We'll get them going, but like there's not that like because I'm used to it. So, but that doesn't mean it's not stressful. And real estate, as much as like it's awesome, like there's some hard days, you know what I mean? Like transactions are not easy, and navigating is not easy. So, well, we have three small boys, and we have a girl on the way in November. So, and they're all 5 and under. So our plates are full. So we try to really hone, and COVID-19 has not been awesome, but they're home all the time now too. So we've navigated that way. Sarah's more of our kind of chief of operations. She does everything, and I do all the client stuff. So, but to wind down, I mean, we spend a lot of time with our kids. We love to take them anywhere. I'm a huge, like at night after 8:30, I try to tune out and we just, watch TV and do that thing and relax a little bit and check back in. And, but I'm a massive sports fan. So I grew up in Kansas City, and I'm still riding high on the Chiefs Super Bowl. I have the best player in the NFL right now on the team. I mean, like
you're gonna have him for a while, from what I hear.
It's unbelievable. So I just love sports. So the fact that when sports were gone, that was stressful, and it's back. And I mean, I'm a huge football, baseball, basketball. I follow it. So on my downtime, if I'm not on my phone looking at real estate stuff, I'm usually on my sports apps figuring that out. So that keeps me a little sane.
I love that. What kind of money is that guy making? You got to figure out how to help him buy some homes in Orlando, man.
I know. Well, it's so funny. I was thinking about just outside the box when Orlando, the NBA players are coming down. I was like, oh, I can get him some houses. And then they all have to stay on the hotel. I guess it's the bubble. But I was like, how cool would that be? I'd freak out.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, man, as we kind of wrap up here, if you guys are listening and you want to connect with Mark on any level for anything, check out the description below. We'll put all your contact information. And can you repeat for me, where all are you at for people that are wanting to send real estate referrals too? Because there's a lot of people on here that are listening that are other Icon agents as well that might not know.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, and our systems are all the same. So we treat the clients all the same. So we're in Orlando. We can do Tampa because it's the same. We can go over there. And then we have Louisville, Kentucky. And we're about to have Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York.
I know.
My cousin was on a very similar path to you. She did the New York dancing, and then she did Disney as well. It's the only time I've ever been to New York. Yeah, the only time I've ever been to New York when I went to go visit her. And that's a great market. It is.
And it's untapped. Like even when we were talking about it with him, me and Kyle were talking to him, and nobody knows about it yet there. And it's going to be so fun for you. Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you coming on today. And I appreciate your energy and all that you give back to the EXP world. So excited to connect with you, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Well, signing off from a different location today, guys. Justin Nelson with the Icon Podcast. As always, we will see you guys on the next episode.